that we'll collect them when they sell it. Yes, ma'am?
I was wondering, I go to school in District 83.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you guys follow through with this home rule, could I go to school in junior high District 84? Because I'm only 6 blocks away.
The question was if home rule passes, this young woman goes to District 83 schools, and she wants to know if home rule passes, will she be able to go to District 84 schools and go to Hester?
Because we only live blocks away,
no,
she gets bused.
No, I'm with you.
Unfortunately, the answer is no. It's a school issue, and the school's boundaries are set, and people can petition to de-annex and to annex into it, to go away from one school district and add on to another school district. It's a hard process. It involves the votes of the people in the community of one district and the votes of the people in the other district. It's a very difficult process. The village has no say-so whatsoever. It's up to the individual school districts or the people themselves who can petition. Or if it's a hardship case, you can petition the school district you want to be in, and their board can make an exception.
Then who exactly should I go to talk to, because I really would like to go to Hester instead of Manheim Middle School Beyond.
You should go to the Hester. What school district is that?
District 84.
You should go to 84, get on their board agenda, and ask them. That's what you need to do.
Good. Home rule question, please. Somebody who hasn't asked the question hasn't been here before. Yes, sir.
The tax, that 1% tax that is talked about.
Yes, sir.
I can understand North Lake and Rosemont making a ton of money from either the hotels or the big box stores.
Right.
I really have a hard time imagining Franklin Park coming anywhere close to the amount of monies that those two communities are going to get. Now, I talked to a friend of mine who I do business with that lives in Schiller Park, and he says his water rates are relatively low compared to Franklin Park. So, you know, if you all, when you made up these flyers and then if you give examples, this is what you're paying now, this is what you could pay compared to the surrounding communities. I still would find it very difficult to believe that Franklin Park could generate anywhere close to Rosemont or North Lake that 1% sales tax with what they're taxing.
No, we're not looking to generate what they make. Ron, why don't you address the issue of how we calculated the $630,000? Ron Heller is our village comptroller. He's the head of our financial department.
Thank you. The way we calculated that $1.8 million, and again, I don't know what Rosemont or who's the other community?
North Lake.
North Lake make. I don't know what kind of revenue they generate. But for our own calculations, we currently take in about $2.3 to $2.4 million a year from the state in a 1% sales tax that they pass along to us based on sales in Franklin Park. Our tax, because it doesn't tax groceries and medications or also registration, anything you need to register, is estimated to generate about 75% of that amount, which is your $1.7 million. And that's confirmed by local communities around us who all report that they generate about 75 to 80% of the state revenue that they receive in sales taxes. So that's borne out by experience here, but that's the general reasoning that underlies that number. Again, I don't know what those two other communities take in. I'm not all that familiar with their retail sales base.
And if you want to, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You go to Walmart and you not look at that 1% tax coming out of those customers compared to all of Franklin Park. You know,
well, the question is,
I just don't see it.
And again, we're not comparing our revenue base to their revenue base. They could generate $40 million a year for all I know. What I know is what we generate, and that's about $2.3 to $2.4 million annually in that 1% sales tax. And we're pretty comfortable and confident that a locally imposed tax, because it's somewhat different, will generate about 3/4 of that amount, which is about $1.7 million, $1.8 million. And again, that's consistent with the surrounding communities that have a 1% locally imposed tax.
You don't have to be satisfied with what we say today. Call my office and schedule an appointment, and we'll sit down and we'll show you the receipts that we get from the city, from the state, and then we'll do the calculation with you. And if there's a miscalculation, we'll be willing to let it be known to the public. Okay? Good. Somebody else who hasn't asked a question? at a previous meeting. Yes, ma'am?
I'm curious, you say in your literature that you are going to, if home rule passes, that you were going to begin collecting from people who use our streets and our services.
Correct.
But don't pay here.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell us how you plan to do that?
Yeah, with the sales tax.
Just with the sales tax?
And with people who come through and violate the law and they get a ticket, instead of the money going to Todd Strozier or Cook County government, it comes to us. Yeah. Or people who overweight
trucks.
or people who come in from out of town and use O'Hare Airport parking.
Overweight.
Yeah. People who come to our hotels and rent a room. I mean, there's
people that use the streets, the overweight trucks.
Yeah, overweight trucks. Somebody who hasn't asked the question at a previous meeting? Lou, Georgetta, former trustee, thank you for serving.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I'm in favor of home rule, but as you said before, and some of the people have said, you mentioned trust. And the big question I have is, can you explain to the residents how they can trust a board, which well, two-thirds of a board, I would say, that I was a part of at one time along with Mr. Fisher and Mr. Pritchett, that a year ago, you accused of misappropriating $8.7 million. So why should the residents trust these people that any new money we get, trust how they would spend it? When two-thirds of that board was along with us, and you accused us a year ago of misappropriating $8.7 million. I never heard an answer.
I can't answer what you guys did with the money. I can't answer why people decided to. No, let me finish. Oh, go ahead, Lou. Go ahead, Lou.
You have two-thirds of the board was with us. They were with Mayor Pritchett, Fisher, and myself. And, you know, did they answer to you where the money went? I mean, we didn't misappropriate any a penny as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I just wanted to bring that out to help the two-thirds of the people who were with us.
Right.
That's all I wanted to ask.
We continue to do a forensic audit on the previous budgets and audits that we've received, and we've been unable to move forward on a 2000 and 2009 audit because the numbers that were in the previous audits are wrong. So we're going to be asking that auditor to reopen that up. And yes, we've had numerous discussions with the previous members of the board on that issue, and they continue to indicate we relied on the comptroller that you had, who provided the information that was inaccurate. So I appreciate your vote for home rule, though.
What I do, you know, I know Mr. Johnson, I know Mr. McClay, I know Mr. Bellman, Mr. Acevedo, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Pritchett, myself.
Yeah.
There was not a penny to spend.
Well, why don't you schedule an appointment to come in to see me, and we'll show you the books, and I'll have you talk to the auditor.
I'll do that.
Okay. Good. Somebody who hasn't asked a question in a previous meeting? Okay. Maria Lazowski.
My question is, do we know what the financial situation of the community is at this time?
Yes, we know what it is presently. Yes, ma'am. We cut about $2.7 million from our budget. We have a balanced budget. I can't tell you what the financials are from 2008 to 2009 before I took office, because none of the auditors that we bring in can read the information.
So we don't know if we're in the red or the black?
Oh, we're definitely in the black this year. But we owe money to the TIFs, and we owe money to the water account, and we owe money to the motor fuel tax fund, and we're paying that back. Part of our budget was to start repaying that money.
So if we're in the black, then how will we be whatever million just a year ago?
Because those are funds that are owed to the TIFs and to the water fund and the MFT. Those are non-operating expenses. Your operating fund is balanced and running in the black, and we're repaying those debts. Those are debts. Okay, that isn't this year's budget. Yes, we still have that debt. Yes, ma'am. Was there? Yes, ma'am. Finish. Go ahead, Maria.
Is part of what our financial situation is the reason why we decided to go for home rule?
No, as a matter of fact, Jack Williams tried to go for home rule twice, and Dan Pritchett, the previous mayor, asked me 3 times if I would support home rule, and each time I said yes, put it on the ballot. For a number of reasons. I'm not sure if it was because the school district had referendums. Remember, District 84 went for referendum. The high school went for referendum. If home rule goes up, there probably are more cuts that would be coming. Yeah. They won't go up any further than they would if you didn't have home rule.